Raj Abhyanker. Just to make sure I have enough time here. I'm an entrepreneur and patent attorney. I will tell you a little bit about myself and what we're doing to disrupt the legal profession. The title of my talk is Disrupting LegalZoom and Big Law. First, I want to thank Harvard Law School for inviting me here. It's a real honor to come to a prestigious university, and this has been a great conference for me, and I've learned a lot. So who are we? So I was a solo law practitioner. I started my own law firm. So I was in the $100 billion club that John Su said, and I started in January 2008. I worked at a large law firm for a couple of years, and for mutual reasons, I don't think I worked well there, and I think I started my own firm because I wanted to do something different. And so I started with a $0 book of business, just hung out a shingle on University Avenue, and became successful doing that. But I also started building software, and some of the software I built has created Trademarkia. Trademarkia is a search engine for names, logos, and slogans, and that generates work for my law firm. So we are now a $10 million single partner law firm, and we reinvest our profits into building new technologies for the web to make data, government data, more interesting, relevant, and social. So everything we've done it through free government data, largely from data.gov. We've got that data, we've organized it, made it more interesting. So our Trademarkia site is now attracting over 2 million unique visitors every month, and this is a site that basically has all the trademark data in it, but we've made it interesting because trademarks are an indicator of upcoming product changes. Before a company releases a product, they'll often trademark the name, and we've taken that basic thesis and allowed people to subscribe to feeds for trademarks. We've also looked at the oldest marks, and we've now allowed the world to see a visual catalog of brands as a function of time. So when I show you Trademarkia at the end, we could look at any company and see a catalog of its brands as a function of time. And this allows new journalists. We've become essentially a news site for journalists to take news from. So we're kind of a Reuters for new businesses to write about, and that allows us to get lots of inbound high-quality links. So when Google decided to come up with the phone, they trademarked Google Nexus, and no one knew about it right away, but they filed a trademark with this name. Journalists found this information on Trademarkia. We got inbound links, and we're in lots of different news portals. So because of that, we're disrupting not only the legal profession in the trademark space, but also, in my view, LegalZoom on one side, and large law firms on the other, by some techniques that we've now done. So I'll kind of give you this visual. We feel like as a solo law firm that we're the little mouse, and there's these big law firms that are the elephant, or there is LegalZoom, which has got a lot of capital on the other side of the spectrum. And so how does a little mouse compete with a large elephant? So how have we done it? So we've basically, to compare ourselves to LegalZoom, I wasn't going to talk about LegalZoom, but I got a little upset when John Su came up and he said, you know, Greenberg Traurig is the largest trademark filing law firm in the world. And that is a lie. I basically went up to him and said, you know, you're misleading people with that, because that was 3 years ago. Greenberg Traurig is not the largest trademark filing law firm in the world. LegalForce Trademarkia is. And we file 6 times as many trademarks as any of the large AM 500 law firms. And he said, well, you know, you're right, Raj, but big law firms see you more like LegalZoom, not like a law firm. So that's why I redid my slides in the last hour and a half to explain to you why LegalZoom and big law should be worried about us. Okay, so first, LegalZoom is a do-it-yourself site. They don't have any clients. We have 32,000 clients. We're adding 500 clients every month that become clients of our law firm through the web. We are positioned as a search engine of government data, not as an e-commerce site. We have, you know, if you search Google and see how many pages indexed LegalZoom has, they have 23,500 pages indexed. We have 9.4 million pages indexed. And because of that, how does that happen? Because we have lots of better inbound links, and we've organized this government data in more interesting and social ways. So we don't have to pay for our traffic. They have to pay millions of dollars a year, raise $100 million, and put TV ads to raise money for their revenue. And so 90% of their traffic is through paid search, whereas only 5% of our traffic is through paid search. Most of our traffic comes from people looking for brands. So we don't pay for advertising anywhere close to what they do, and yet we're visible to one new person every second of the day, 24 hours a day. In my 10-minute talk, we'll have over 1,000 people on Trademarkia, or 6,000 people on Trademarkia. It was now 600, my math is off. 600 people on Trademarkia. Or is it 600? Yeah, 600 people on Trademarkia. And so this site is a massive site. We're the 3700th largest website in America, and the 95th largest website in the world. And we've done this by creating a search engine. We're as big as lawyers.com, if you want to put it in perspective, in terms of overall site traffic. We've also disrupted LegalZoom by creating a physical presence. We've created a beautiful space on University Avenue that in downtown Palo Alto, which is the most interesting and so relevant in the tech industry street in the world. And we've put our place as a physical walk-in access to Law Center where people can access law at 8 p.m. at night on Saturday, or 7 a.m. on, not 7 a.m., but 10 a.m. on Sunday. And so we basically have created a physical walk-in retail access to Law Center to supplement our online presence. We build trust through data. We take government data, making it more social, relevant, interesting. That's how we do build trust. We don't have a celebrity sponsor or an aging one that will kind of represent us, who was a criminal defense lawyer. So, it doesn't make any sense. We haven't invested that way. We've invested through data and search. We're not a document preparation service. We're a U.S. law firm. We offer legal services. We're now half the size in terms of, he said 30,000 trademarks a month. We're filing 15,000 trademarks every year, and we're filing them globally. And we're catching up very fast. We're in Inc. We're the 9th fastest growing company in Silicon Valley, according to Inc. 500. How have we done this? By having lawyers when our competitors have no lawyers. Is we've put our back office in Nagpur, India, where we actually have attorneys that support our U.S. attorneys. So we have attorneys that are Indian attorneys supporting our U.S. attorneys, whereas they have people with high school degrees and more in Austin, Texas, doing their trademark applications. So we believe that lawyers rule, whether they're American lawyers or foreign lawyers. Lawyers should take control over this profession. Lawyers shouldn't have to pay in to be into a bogus legal plan, for which they're essentially paying for leads and convincing people to get new work while LegalZoom is making all the money. So we're very proud of not raising any capital, because with capital comes strings. And raising $100 million means you have 100 bosses that are kind of telling you, because they're LPs and everyone else down the chain is looking for an exit, and it puts a lot of constraints in your creativity, and therefore they, in our view, have none. And we have been able to innovate because we're lean, mean, and we're profitable on our own. We don't depend on other people to basically support our existence. On the big law side, we compete bottom up. Because now we have 32,000 clients, our law firm on a daily basis gets 5 to 30 inbound cease and desist letters from all the AM 500 law firms and large companies for our little clients that we have. Not all our clients are little, I mind you. We represent celebrities, we represent the band Fun, we represent Von Gautier, we represent large companies like Hitachi. But we have 32,000 of them. So 32,000, 90% of our clients are small businesses. We get the cease and desist letters because people say you're infringing our trademarks or whatever. So now we're lead counsel on 5 major federal litigations. Believe it or not, our firm now represents over 65 trademark trials and appeals board oppositions simultaneously at any given time. So we're now moving up the stack with things aren't just beyond trademark filings, but our own clients coming to us first to ask for new things, from patent litigation to trademark litigation. We're recruiting the people who left Morrison Forster and Cooley Godward and who were 6th-year associates and didn't make partner for whatever reason to come work for us. So we have a stable of world-class attorneys that got out of the pyramid structures of these law firms that now we support their entire solo practices with. And so we're now moving up the stack. It's only a matter of time where we integrate them in and become the largest law firm in the world, which we have no doubt that we will become. We do take risks. We take calculated risks. We don't avoid risks. We take calculated, measured risks, which is the same thing we preach to our clients. I mean, lawyers feel that they're trained to give advice to avoid risk, but that's not true. Take calculated risks in ways that you can work within the legal framework to solve problems. So we've worked within the legal framework of the ABA, the California Bar, as well as the regulations on the legal practice to solve problems ourselves, and we encourage all our associates to do the same thing. So we don't have, first-year associates making $180,000. We actually get apprentice attorneys. We get almost volunteers that are recent bar passers working for us for $3,000 a month because they get experience. And we get 300 applicants. We've had applicants from the Harvard Law School to the Stanford Law School. We have high-quality apprentices that we bring in 3-month cycles. We train them, and they decide their own future. They get to see how law practices in the future, and they leave with that knowledge in their hand. And so we don't have that. We believe that lawyers should make their own future, so we reward people based on what they do, not how old they are or how many years of experience they have, but what they can do creatively within the realms of the legal domain. So that's it for me. So thank you very much. I inspire some of you to take off where we leave off, and maybe next time come and say, disrupt LegalForce. All right?
Sure, we got some We've got to have some questions for Raj after that. Yes.
I'm just wondering, how is your company structured? Is it a partnership?
Yeah, it's a California S Law partnership, which I own 100% of. And then we're a Delaware C Corporation as a technology company. And we advertise, the law firm advertised on the website the same way a law firm would advertise on Google. So Trademarkia is a media property. It's a search engine that drives millions of unique visitors. Our law firm pays on an independent function from revenue. It pays based on the page views and the total number of impressions on the site.
Did you have a question? Did you have a question? Oh, sorry.
So I have a specific question for Raj, and then maybe a broader question, and if we have time to get to, we can. Do you have any idea how many of your customers sort of fall on the bottom of Chris Kenny's U-shaped graph, and i.e. people that would not otherwise be registering or searching trademarks? Because I feel like there's a lot that we're talking about that isn't really that disruptive in the sense that it's not actually changing who's accessing the market. So there's already a lot of good technology out there. We haven't revolutionized adoption.
Well, the average person on the street doesn't know a lawyer. So the average person on the street doesn't know a single lawyer. And they're afraid of lawyers. And they just don't, so we've made lawyers accessible to people by taking them out of the high-rises and large buildings and putting them on Main Street. So we have a physical walk-in retail center, which is, where people can walk in to see a lawyer. Similarly, on the web, people can search law, and they can empower themselves with the law before they apply. Basically, when someone wants to trademark a name, they want to know, is my name available? So in our case, we have 16 countries of trademark data that's all indexed. They search for the name. If it's available, all themselves.
Right, they start with that.
Yeah.
Question. I mean, you might not know, you just might not have this information, but how many of the 32,000 clients would not have otherwise pursued some other legal?
I would say over 50%. Because they wouldn't be able to afford it, and they'd be too scared to ask, and nothing would get done. They'd just hang out their restaurant name, and they'd start selling. So trademarks, people when they start a business, they usually get a domain name, they incorporate, and they might trademark. So might trademark means many times they don't. But now if we made that easy and accessible to them through search, rather than just an e-commerce site, suddenly it becomes something that's more tangible to them. So.
Okay. Any other questions?
Just a comment. It might also be too unsophisticated to appreciate that they actually don't need to file a trademark.
Absolutely.
And
So
think that's a good use of their money.
Exactly. So one of the criticisms that we get from trademark attorneys is we've made the process so easy that we've dumbified it, and therefore, it's not that simple. Lawyers love to make things more complicated than it actually is. And the reality is, common law protects brands as well. So we do a filtered check. What we do is when a trademark comes in, we do a conflict check. We double check to make sure that the mark is likely to be registrable, and then we file it. And so what happens is, on the back end, if we get office actions, we'll do those for free if the client can't afford it. And we do this as a practice, so our allowance rates are now over 95% for trademark filings. And the reason for that is we can screen out better on the intake what marks shouldn't get filed. So we have a lot of fans at the USPTO that are examiners and in the executive areas of the USPTO, because we've created a way for people to file marks. Now, they could have done that on the USPTO's website itself, but the chance for them getting a registered mark is like 60%. So what we've done is we've increased their chance from 60% to 95%, which is higher than any law firm. So we haven't necessarily broken the process you described. That can be done by those earnest do-it-yourself people already on the USPTO website. We've just now taken a good percentage of them and made them have a clear way to make sure those marks get registered.
Do you have something in your sites after trademarks?
What was that?
Do you have something in your sites now after trademarks, an area you want to tackle like this? It's kind of high volume.
Well, I think we have globalization as a localization option for us. If we want to quadruple our revenue, we need to make a German localized version of
But still
trademark.
trademarks, so this is really
Yeah, it's our bread and butter.
That's what you want to do.
That's what we're good at in this business. I mean, I got all these other ideas, but this business is about trademarks and empowering small businesses with trademarks. LegalForce is a broader entity. Our vision was quite different, to take people across the life cycle of their growth. So the law firm side, assists now in litigation and licensing, and we're moving up the stack in corporate work. But on the trademark e-commerce, on the web presence, it's going to be trademark focused.
By the way, your retail store is awesome. I stood in front of it at University Avenue and thought, this is like must be the most amazing frozen yogurt store at University Avenue. What is this place? And I thought,
Yeah, so people expected, if you have a walk-in law, you're in the worst area of town. We've chosen it to be on the most expensive street, the most expensive location, in a historically preserved 125-year old building, which we fully restored. So all these that's why we're disrupting Big Law, because they can be right on Palo Alto, on the office parks on Page Mill Road. But we're right in center where people are walking, and we spent millions of dollars making this building ours. And we've made it not just ours, we've made it the communities. People have classes there. We have sock puppets for kids. We have robotics classes for girls. We have all kinds of fun stuff happening there. And now we've Kickstarter success parties every other night. And so we have this place where it becomes it becomes really a disruptor to Big Law, because they're over there in the office park where you have to drive and park and get out into a mahogany lobby, and we're here to help you.
Raj, I have a question for you. So to be a disruptor, what about the actual concept of law and JDs? Why do you need JDs to do most of what you're doing in LegalForce?
Because in the higher end work, you start getting into things where, if you're dealing with a complex motion on the federal
I understand on the
litigation.
higher end, but for most of what you do.
Yeah, so actually most of what we do today is a seed. So if you look at Clay Christensen's, he talked about, these steel mills and the micro mills. We start out as that micro mill, which is the stuff no one wants to do.
Right.
And now we're quickly moving up the stack. You talk to me in 10 years, we're going to be a $100 million law firm.
Right.
And it's going to be through very advanced legal work. And we're starting to do right to publicity work for celebrities. We're doing major litigations for venture-backed companies now. So it's very soon going to change. So the intake is what's broken. The intake of how someone becomes engaged with the law firm is broken. And that's what we've started with. But that's not where LegalForce is going to end with. LegalForce is a corporate law firm helping businesses across the stages of their growth.
But Raj, then are you morphing from the mini mill model to the hotel model? I mean, are you just then emulating large firm delivery of those higher value points, or are you actually changing the way you deliver those services?
Right, so from a pure economic model, if we're the mini mill working for, this construction company doing local manufacturing for distribution in our area, that local manufacturing company may also have relationships with larger ones or may become a regional one. So we grow with our clients. So our clients suddenly grow with us. 95% of small businesses go bankrupt. So if I look at the statistics, many of our clients will eventually go bankrupt. But the 5% that grow, we're the first lawyers they knew. And all of a sudden they become our fans, and we can service them across a distributed network. In Massachusetts, we have 950 clients in the state. And yet, I haven't been here in years. And so if I can find a way to service those clients, many are venture-backed companies, many we have venture capital firms, and many are just your average mechanic or your average plumber. So, you know, how do we service them and grow with those businesses that succeed and still allow for, you know, graceful wind downs for the ones that may not, which is part of the entrepreneurial journey. I became a lawyer out of bankruptcy. My parents went bankrupt, and I became a lawyer because I saw what happens to a family when it goes through personal and business bankruptcy. So the same kind of, you know, if we can find a way to service those markets, I think we can do something amazing.
That's great. Well, thank you very much.